There's a lake in northern Michigan called Blackwater Lake. If you search it online, you won't find anything strange about it. Just fishing photos, camping reviews, families smiling beside bonfires. But if you ask the people who live near it, really ask them, they'll tell you there's one rule nobody breaks. If you hear someone calling your name from the water after midnight, don't answer. Because whatever calls back isn't human anymore. And I know that because 3 years ago, my best friend answered it. Back in October of 2023, 5 of us rented a cabin near Blackwater Lake for a weekend trip. It was supposed to be one last getaway before real life started crushing us. I'm Ethan, 22 years old at the time, fresh out of college, broke, exhausted, and trying to pretend adulthood wasn't terrifying. The others were Jake, loud, funny, reckless. Mia, my ex-girlfriend. Tyler, film student, always recording everything. And Noah, quiet, smart, kind of paranoid. The cabin itself was deep in the woods, nearly 30 minutes from the nearest gas station. No cell service. No neighbors, just trees and the lake. The owner left us a handwritten note on the kitchen counter. It said, "Stay away from the water after midnight. Ignore any voices outside. Keep the back door locked." Jake laughed the second he read it. "Bro, this is marketing," he said. "They're trying to make the cabin seem haunted." Tyler immediately pulled out his camera. Perfect for content. But Noah didn't laugh. He kept staring at the note like something about it bothered him. "What?" Mia asked. Noah hesitated. "My grandpa used to talk about this place." Jake smirked. "What, like ghost stories?" Noah looked toward the dark lake outside the window. He said people disappear here. The room went quiet for a second. Then Jake cracked a beer open and ruined the tension. And honestly, that should have been the end of it. But horror stories never feel dangerous at the beginning. That's what makes them dangerous. That first night felt normal. We cooked burgers, drank too much, played cards, and sat around a bonfire near the shoreline. The lake was unbelievably still. Not a single ripple, no frogs. No insects, no wind. It was like the entire forest was holding its breath. Around 11:45 p.m., Tyler started filming the lake. "Imagine catching something on camera," he joked. Jake shouted toward the water. "Hey, Blackwater demon, come get US." Nothing happened. Everybody laughed. Then from somewhere across the lake, we heard a voice. Jake, it was faint, almost swallowed by the darkness. Jake stopped smiling. "Did one of you say that?" Nobody answered. Then it came again. Closer this time. Jake, the voice sounded wrong, not deep. Not monster-like. Just empty. Like someone copying human speech without understanding emotion. Tyler nervously laughed. "Okay, nah, who's messing around?" Noah stood up immediately. "We need to go inside." Jake rolled his eyes. "Dude, relax." Then the voice spoke again. Right behind us. Jake, every single one of us turned. Nobody was there, but the trees behind the cabin were moving. Not swaying, shaking. Like something large was pushing through them. Noah grabbed Jake's arm, inside now. This time, Jake listened. We ran back into the cabin and locked every door. Tyler tried joking again, but nobody was really laughing anymore. Then at exactly midnight, something knocked on the back door. 3 slow knocks, thump, 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 we froze. Mia whispered, "Did somebody follow us out here?" Jake looked through the window beside the door and immediately stumbled backward. "What?" I asked. Jake's face had gone completely pale. "There's someone standing at the dock." I looked outside. At first, I couldn't see anything. Then lightning flashed over the lake. and for half a second, I saw a person standing ankle deep in the water. Completely still, facing the cabin. Tyler zoomed in with the camera. The figure looked like a woman. Long wet hair covered her face. Her arms hung unnaturally low, almost to her knees. Then she spoke. Mia gasped. That sounded like my mom. The voice was perfect. Exactly like her mother. Not similar, exact. The woman slowly lifted one arm and pointed toward the lake. Mia, come here. Noah backed away from the windows. Do not open that door. Jake whispered, how the hell does she know our names? The figure suddenly tilted her head too far, like bones bending the wrong direction. Then she started walking toward the cabin. Not running, walking. But every step looked off, like a puppet learning how humans move. Tyler kept filming. The closer the thing got, the more distorted it became. Its arms stretched longer. Its legs bent strangely. And its face, God, its face looked melted, like skin floating over something unfinished underneath. Mia screamed. The thing sprinted toward the cabin, fast. Way too fast. It slammed against the back door hard enough to shake the walls. Boom, boom, boom. Then silence. We couldn't breathe. Nobody moved. And then Tyler looked at the camera screen. Guys. He turned the camera toward us. The recording showed the dock, the lake, the shoreline, but there had never been a woman there, not once. Only empty water. Nobody slept. Around 2 a.m., Noah finally admitted something. His grandfather disappeared at Blackwater Lake in 1987. They found his boat drifting empty near the middle of the lake. But before he vanished, he told people he'd been hearing voices outside his cabin every night. Voices of dead family members, friends, children, calling him into the water. Jake tried acting tough, but I could see fear crushing him. Tyler replayed the footage over and over. No, I saw her, he kept saying. We all did. Then the audio changed. The camera had captured something we hadn't heard earlier. Very faint, beneath our voices, whispering, hundreds of whispers, all speaking at once. Tyler raised the volume, and suddenly every whisper stopped together. Then one voice spoke clearly. Bring him to us. The cabin lights went out instantly. Darkness swallowed everything. Mia screamed. Someone started pounding on the walls outside. Not knocking, pounding. Like dozens of hands hitting the cabin from every direction. Bang, 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 bang. Jake grabbed a flashlight. I looked outside the front window and nearly threw up. People were standing between the trees. At least 20 of them. Motionless, watching the cabin. Some looked normal. Others looked swollen, distorted, water dripping from their bodies. One of them stepped forward into the flashlight beam. It was Noah's grandfather, or at least something wearing his face. Its mouth opened impossibly wide, and all the figures whispered together, bring him to us. Jake suddenly panicked. They mind me. Noah turned toward him slowly. You called to the lake first. The pounding stopped. Complete silence again. Then the front door handle started turning, slowly. We barricaded the doors with furniture. The things outside never tried breaking in again. They just waited, watching. At around 3 a.m., Noah found an old newspaper clipping in a kitchen drawer. A local article from 1994. 3 campers missing at Blackwater Lake. The article mentioned something disturbing. Every disappearance happened after someone heard a familiar voice near the water. And every survivor reported the same thing. The lake takes one person at a time. Like a trade. Jake started losing it. No way. This is insane. But then we heard his mother's voice outside, crying. Jake, please help me. Jake froze. Tears filled his eyes instantly. Mom. Noah grabbed him. That's not her. But the voice sounded real. Terrified in pain. Jake, it hurts. Jake shoved Noah away and ran toward the back door. We tackled him before he could open it. He started screaming at us. You hear her. You hear her. Then the crying stopped, and a new voice spoke outside. Jake's voice. Let me in. Every hair on my body stood up. Because Jake was beside us. Inside the cabin. But outside, something else was speaking with his voice. Then came scratching. Long nails dragging across the wood. And slowly the thing outside whispered, I found you. Near sunrise, the whispers stopped completely. The figures outside vanished. We thought it was over, until Tyler noticed the dock. Jake was gone. The back door stood slightly open. Wet footprints led toward the lake. We ran outside. The fog over the water was thick now. You could barely see 10 feet ahead. Then we heard Jake screaming from the lake, help me. We found an old rowboat tied near the dock and pushed into the water. Noah begged us not to go, but Mia was already crying. So the four of us rowed into the fog. That was the worst mistake of my life. Halfway across the lake, we saw shapes moving beneath the water. Human shapes, dozens of them, swimming below us, keeping pace with the boat. Then Tyler pointed ahead, there. Jake floated in the distance, clinging to a buoy. We rowed harder, but the closer we got, the stranger he looked. His body moved wrong, jerky, like frames skipping in a video. Then Jake lifted his head and smiled too wide, way too wide. Noah whispered, that's not Jake. The thing exploded upward from the water. Its arms wrapped around Tyler instantly and dragged him overboard. He didn't even have time to scream. The lake erupted around us. Pale hands burst from the water everywhere, grabbing the boat, pulling. Mia fell in next, then Noah. I still hear their screams sometimes, especially at night. I barely made it back to shore alive. But when I looked behind me, the lake was calm again. Completely calm, like nothing had happened. Police searched Blackwater Lake for 9 days. They found the boat, Tyler's camera, and nothing else. No bodies, no evidence. The footage Tyler recorded was mostly corrupted. But one clip survived, 7 seconds long. It showed me rowing through the fog alone, crying, terrified, and behind me, just beneath the surface, hundreds of pale faces staring upward from the water. The police called it trauma-induced hallucination. The town called it an accident. But sometimes, late at night, I still get voicemails from unknown numbers, static, water sounds, and whispers. Last week, I finally listened to one all the way through. At the very end, I heard Jake's voice, clear as day. Ethan, we found your address. And outside my apartment window, I heard knocking. 3 slow knocks, thump, thump, thump. Then silence, because Blackwater Lake doesn't let people leave. It only waits for the water to bring them back.